The Browns just pulled off a move that has fans buzzing and haters panicking. Chris Paul is in, and suddenly Shedeur Sanders' future looks different. But is this signing really random or a calculated step to protect their young quarterback? The truth behind the headlines might surprise you. The Cleveland Browns just made a move that immediately sent shockwaves through NFL fans and analysts alike. Andrew Barry, the team's GM, pulled the trigger on signing left guard Chris Paul from the Washington Commanders, and reactions were instant, loud, and messy. On social media and in comment sections, the haters erupted. Some claimed they had never even heard of the player, questioning how he could command such a contract. But that criticism misses the bigger picture entirely. This signing wasn't random. It wasn't a street free agent gamble. Cleveland needed protection for Shedeur Sanders, and Chris Paul is exactly the type of player to provide it. What people don't see when they react in panic is the trajectory of Chris Paul's career. He wasn't handed a starting spot. In Washington, he rotated in and out of the lineup, waiting for an opportunity. Once it arrived, he dominated the competition and secured the starting job outright. Week after week, his performance improved, his technique sharpened, and by season's end, he looked like a completely different player. This was no accident. This was a player seizing his moment, proving he could perform under pressure and showing rapid development that few could ignore. Andrew Barry clearly noticed. He didn't wait for a perfect, fully recognized option to appear on the market. He moved decisively, securing a player trending upward at exactly the right moment. Meanwhile, critics obsessed over minor details. Some argued the contract was too high, others claimed he was a poor run blocker. But the numbers tell a different story. Chris Paul's pass protection stats ranked among the best at his position last season, and that's the exact skill the Browns desperately needed. Shedeur Sanders is young, and his success depends heavily on the wall in front of him. Without protection, a quarterback's development can stall, rhythm disappears, and the offense struggles. Cleveland's move wasn't flashy or headline-grabbing in the traditional sense. It wasn't about adding a superstar to make the highlight reels. It was about building depth, stability, and reliability on the offensive line, making sure the team never faces another desperate December scramble for bodies. The panic from the haters reveals more about them than about the move itself. Deep down, everyone knows this signing strengthens the Browns' future more than they want to admit. The truth is simple. Chris Paul earned this chance, and the Browns acted before any other team could interfere. Protection for Shedeur Sanders isn't a gamble. It's a calculated step toward a stable offense, and it's exactly what Cleveland needed. Chris Paul isn't some unknown name suddenly thrown into the mix. His rise in Washington was earned the hard way. He rotated in and out of the lineup for a while, waiting for the right moment, and when it came, he didn't just step in, he dominated. Week after week, he improved, showing sharper technique, stronger awareness, and a consistency that quickly separated him from his competition. By the end of the season, he looked like a completely different player compared to his early days, a transformation that doesn't happen by accident. Andrew Barry saw all of this. He didn't need the headlines, the hype, or the recognition that the casual fan demands. He saw a player with momentum, someone trending upward at the perfect time, someone who could immediately protect the most important asset on the team, Shedeur Sanders. The Browns weren't chasing fame or a flashy signing. They were solving a problem. Protection for a young quarterback isn't optional, it's a requirement, and Chris Paul had proven he could deliver. Critics immediately jumped in, as they always do. Some said the contract was too high. Others claimed Chris Paul couldn't block the run effectively. But these arguments crumble when you actually look at his numbers. His pass protection ranked among the best at his position last year. That skill is critical for a quarterback like Shedeur, who needs time and space to develop in the pocket. Without that, the offense struggles and a young QB's growth stalls. The stats don't lie, Chris Paul can hold the line. The Browns didn't sign a player to make a statement or grab headlines. They signed a player who could step in immediately and improve the team's overall stability. In Washington, Chris Paul fought for his starting spot and never let it go. That kind of mentality matters on an offensive line, especially in a young team full of developing players. It pushes everyone around him to perform better, creating competition, accountability, and a stronger unit overall. The haters act like Cleveland made a gamble, but this is far from it. This is calculated, strategic, and practical. Chris Paul has proven he can rise to the occasion, adapt quickly, and protect the quarterback when it matters most. That track record doesn't just make him a capable guard, it makes him exactly the type of player a team like Cleveland needs right now. Deep down, everyone panicking knows it. This signing strengthens the Browns more than they want to admit. Chris Paul's rise is the kind of trajectory that can change a young quarterback's career, and Cleveland moved before anyone else could get in the way. This isn't hype, it's results. The Browns didn't bring Chris Paul in for show, they brought him in out of necessity. Last season, their offensive line struggled to protect the quarterback. The pocket collapsed too often, the run game sputtered, and the offense never hit a rhythm. When your young quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, is expected to take the next step, that kind of instability is a nightmare. Cleveland needed more than just bodies. They needed a lineman who could stabilize the line and raise the level of everyone around him. Depth was the issue. Injuries happen, rotations are necessary, and late-season desperation moves aren't a plan, they're a panic response. G. Bush pointed out something critical. Last year, the Browns had to pull players off practice squads just to fill gaps. That situation left them exposed. This offseason, Andrew Barry recognized that the team could not afford to repeat that chaos. He needed proven talent ready to contribute from day one, and Chris Paul fit that mold perfectly. Some critics immediately attacked the move, claiming the contract was too high or that Paul wasn't a strong run blocker. But that misses the bigger picture. This signing isn't about one flashy headline or a perfect stat line. It's about creating a resilient offensive line that can survive the NFL grind. Protection isn't optional for a young quarterback, it's survival. A single weak link can disrupt the entire offense. Cleveland isn't paying Chris Paul to be a superstar, they're paying for stability, reliability, and consistency. Beyond individual skill, Paul brings competition. On an offensive line, that mentality matters. Players push each other to improve, mistakes are minimized, and young teammates learn what it takes to hold up against elite pass rushers. For Shedeur, walking into the huddle knowing he has a line that can protect him changes everything. It allows him to make smarter reads, trust the system, and grow into the quarterback the Browns need him to be. The urgency is clear. The Browns are building a foundation, not gambling on hope. Waiting for a cheaper or more familiar option could have led to disaster. Cleveland's approach is proactive, not reactive. They identified a player trending upward, one who has proven he can win a starting job and perform under pressure, and they acted before another team snatched him up. Every signing matters when you're preparing a young quarterback for a full NFL season. Chris Paul isn't just a solution for the line, he's part of a bigger strategy to protect the team's future. This isn't hype or panic, it's calculated, practical, and exactly what the Browns needed to give Shedeur Sanders a real chance to succeed. The moment the Browns signed Chris Paul, the media panic started. Headlines erupted and fans immediately took sides. Some outlets treated the signing like a random, reckless gamble. Critics claimed Paul was unproven, overpriced, and incapable of helping Shedeur Sanders. But a closer look shows the hysteria wasn't about the player, it was about the narrative. Many of the loudest voices admitted they barely knew who Chris Paul was, yet somehow that ignorance turned into authority. "We've never heard of him, so he must be a bad signing," they declared. Logic didn't matter, facts were optional. Week by week, the commentary shifted to suit the argument. First he was unknown, then suddenly he was a terrible run blocker, then the contract became the problem. Every sentence contradicted the last, exposing the agenda behind the outrage. And the fan reaction mirrored the chaos. Social media threads lit up with speculation, panic, and exaggeration. Some suggested the Browns were throwing money blindly, prioritizing optics over performance. Others claimed Shedeur Sanders was doomed because the line wasn't elite. But the numbers tell a different story. Chris Paul earned his spot in Washington by outperforming competition and improving week after week. He didn't stumble into a job, he proved himself. That reality seems to have been lost in the noise. Even veteran analysts, who usually offer measured insight, jumped into the frenzy. They debated every minor detail as if one signing could make or break the franchise. But football isn't about single players, it's about depth, development, and preparation. The Browns aren't building a short-term fix, they're stacking a line to protect a young quarterback for the full season. That nuance is easy to miss when outrage drives the conversation. Meanwhile, the panic revealed something deeper. The critics' obsession with Shedeur Sanders. Every move, every signing, every draft pick was scrutinized through a lens of doubt. Malik Willis, Anthony Richardson, and other names were floated as supposed solutions. Yet when the organization committed to their plan, the same voices suddenly shifted into doom mode. The reaction wasn't about Chris Paul, it was about resisting the rise of a young quarterback who represents the Browns' future. But fans who understand the game see it clearly. Chris Paul is a calculated addition, not a gamble. The panic from media and haters only highlights how effective the move really is. Cleveland addressed a glaring weakness, strengthened the offensive line, and set Shedeur up for success. Critics can yell, social media can explode, but the facts remain. This was a smart, proactive move, and the Browns are building, not panicking. The signing of Chris Paul isn't just a roster move, it's a strategic statement. The Browns clearly recognized their offensive line was a liability last season, and that weakness directly impacted Shedeur Sanders. A young quarterback can't thrive if the line in front of him collapses under pressure. Andrew Barry's decision to bring in Paul shows the front office isn't just reacting, they're planning. Chris Paul's track record in Washington proves he's exactly the type of player Cleveland needed. He didn't inherit a starting job, he earned it through performance. Week after week he improved, learning protections, adjusting to different defensive schemes, and showing resilience under pressure. That kind of growth translates directly to quarterback protection. For a team investing in Shedeur Sanders' development, having a guard who can rise to the challenge is critical. Depth was another major factor. Last season, the Browns struggled late when injuries hit, often scrambling for bodies from the practice squad. That lack of preparation created chaos and exposed Shedeur to unnecessary risk. By adding Chris Paul now, Cleveland ensures they have a player capable of stepping in immediately, stabilizing the line, and absorbing pressure that might otherwise fall on the young quarterback. This isn't a flashy move meant to grab headlines, it's practical, calculated, and future-focused. The timing is also strategic. Other teams were unlikely to overlook Paul's improvement, meaning Cleveland had to act quickly. Waiting could have allowed a competitor to snatch him up, leaving the Browns exposed once the season began. By moving decisively, they not only filled a need but also gained a competitive advantage. It's a reminder that NFL roster building is a chess match, not a guessing game. Finally, this signing signals confidence in Shedeur Sanders. Bringing in a player of Paul's proven capability communicates to everyone in the organization that Shedeur is the QB to build around. It sends a message to teammates, opponents, and fans. The Browns are committed, the quarterback is protected, and the plan is moving forward. That level of strategic clarity rarely comes through in media narratives, but it's the type of thinking that separates successful teams from those constantly chasing short-term fixes. In short, this isn't about hype or reacting to critics, it's about building stability, depth, and opportunity. Chris Paul strengthens the wall in front of Shedeur Sanders, mitigates risk, and gives the quarterback a fighting chance to succeed. Cleveland isn't gambling, they're constructing the foundation for a season where Shedeur can grow, the offense can execute, and the Browns can compete. Every decision ties directly to one goal: making sure the young quarterback has the protection and resources he needs to thrive. Cleveland isn't just signing players, they're building a system. Last season exposed just how thin the Browns' roster could be when injuries hit. Young quarterbacks like Shedeur Sanders can't succeed in a patchwork offense where protection is inconsistent. Every decision this offseason points to a bigger strategy: stability, depth, and long-term growth. Adding Chris Paul to the offensive line is a clear signal. He's not a random name, he's a player who earned his spot in Washington by outplaying the competition. That same mentality translates to Cleveland. By bringing in a player proven to step up under pressure, the Browns are creating a safety net for Shedeur, ensuring he can grow without constant chaos in the pocket. Protection is priority number one for a young quarterback, and Paul delivers exactly that. But this is just one piece of the puzzle. The Browns are stacking their roster thoughtfully. Last year, they relied on rookies who had to step into major roles immediately. That exposed gaps when injuries struck late in the season. This offseason, Cleveland is proactive. They're signing and drafting players who can contribute immediately, not just waiting for luck or hoping a bargain appears. Depth isn't optional, it's a necessity. Every lineman, every back, every receiver now has a role in keeping the offense stable. Andrew Barry's strategy goes beyond individual talent. It's about mindset and readiness. Players like Chris Paul bring competition, discipline, and experience to a group that needs to protect its young QB. It's not flashy, it's functional. The goal is simple. When Shedeur steps onto the field, he sees a line capable of holding up, allowing the offense to execute instead of scrambling. That stability could change the trajectory of games and ultimately the season. This bigger picture also reflects Cleveland's long-term vision. They're not chasing quick fixes or listening to media panic. Every move has context: a young QB to protect, a rookie-heavy roster to support, and a division where competitiveness demands foresight. By thinking ahead, the Browns are giving themselves flexibility, resilience, and a higher floor for success. At the end of the day, this isn't about hype, it's about preparation. Cleveland is building a team that can absorb mistakes, handle injuries, and give Shedeur Sanders the opportunity to grow into the quarterback the organization believes he can be. Every signing, every draft choice, every offseason decision ties back to one mission: make sure the young QB steps onto the field in 2026 ready to lead, protected, and prepared to win. Shedeur Sanders isn't just stepping into the quarterback role, he's evolving under the spotlight. After last season's roller coaster of starts and stops, he now has the tools and support to truly grow. The Browns front office understands that a young quarterback's development isn't just about raw talent, it's about environment, protection, and the right coaching. Every decision they've made, from adding Chris Paul to building depth along the offensive line, ties directly to giving Shedeur a chance to succeed. Last season, Shedeur faced constant pressure. He had flashes of brilliance, but inconsistent protection forced him to improvise more than a starting QB should. That type of exposure can stunt growth, but the organization learned fast. This offseason isn't about hype, it's about giving him stability. The Browns have stacked the roster with players who can step in, rotate, and handle multiple roles. It's a safety net that allows Shedeur to focus on reading defenses, timing his throws, and building chemistry with his receivers. What makes Shedeur's situation unique is that the team isn't treating him like a temporary stopgap. He's the quarterback to develop, the player to invest in, and the guy they believe can lead Cleveland forward. Reports suggest the front office is being methodical, evaluating every matchup, every practice, and every snap to ensure he's progressing at the right pace. This is more than just experience, it's calculated growth. Mentally, Shedeur is also maturing. He's learning from veterans, absorbing coaching insights, and handling media scrutiny better than most rookies could. He's starting to read defenses before the snap, anticipate blitzes, and make adjustments on the fly. These are the subtleties that separate quarterbacks who survive from those who thrive. Every addition to the roster, every draft pick, every signing feeds into that process. By the time the season starts, Shedeur will have a line he can trust, a rotation of backs and receivers he knows intimately, and a coaching staff committed to nurturing his development. This isn't just about physical skill, it's about confidence, timing, and rhythm. Fans may be focused on names and headlines, but the real story is that the Browns have built an ecosystem for a young quarterback to grow without the chaos of last season. In short, Shedeur Sanders' development is a deliberate strategic process. He's no longer the rookie scrambling to survive, he's the centerpiece of an offense being constructed around him. And when he takes the field in 2026, he won't just be playing games. He'll be stepping into a system designed for his success, backed by a team that finally understands what it takes to cultivate a young quarterback in the NFL. Shedeur Sanders isn't just a rookie anymore, he's the focal point of the Browns' future. With Chris Paul and a strengthened offensive line protecting him, he finally has the stability to grow, make reads, and build confidence. Every move this offseason was calculated to give him the tools he needs, from depth in the trenches to a supporting cast that can step in without collapsing the system. The Browns aren't gambling, they're building a foundation. But the real question is, when Shedeur steps on the field, will he seize the moment and prove all the doubters wrong?